You're listening to The Martin Houston Show on Tide 100.9 in Tuscaloosa. Los Angeles. Here's Steve DeSager.
The Miami Dolphins won the Monday Night Football game in L.A., beating the Rams 23-15, holding the Rams without a touchdown. The Dolphins didn't have much offense after the opening TD drive, only 168 yards on 9 drives after that. Former Rams and USC coach John Robinson died at the age of 89, and former Notre Dame coach Jerry Faust died at the age of 89. Wisconsin football advisor Jack Del Rio resigned after a recent drunk driving crash. To the NBA, Cleveland is now 12-0 after a victory at Chicago, 119-113. Donovan Mitchell with 36 points. Wins for Houston and San Antonio. Brooklyn narrowly beat New Orleans, 107-105. And Oklahoma City's now 9-2 after beating the Clippers, 134-128. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander with 45 points. Damian Lillard of Milwaukee is now in concussion protocol and out Tuesday.
Alabama 1st and 10 on the 12. Again, Houston. He's got a hole. He's over. Alabama touchdown.
I'm just wondering if your listeners know how good a football player you were. I can still see you playing that fullback, knocking those players out of the way. And I believe I could have run behind you.
Martin, I can remember when we came to summer and you were playing fullback up there, and I saw you in the weight room and watched you work out in the weight room. If you could pick up, you were strong enough to pick up the whole weight room. I wanted to recruit you, and our running back coach didn't think you passed. Biggest mistake we ever made.
The Martin Houston Show with national championship winning fullback Martin Houston, giving you 1 hour of intense, hard-hitting analysis from an insider's perspective. It's time for the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports, Tide 100.9, and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Good morning. Welcome into the Martin Houston Show, powered by Box Eye Care. I'm Xavier Houston. We have Martin Houston, Chase Bromfield. We have DC Capstone Report joining us today as we talk Bama versus the Tigers. Jalen Milroe's record-setting night. Bama's most complete game around the nation. College football playoff picture. Bama hoops. SEC fines, and more.
All right. Good morning. It is a beautiful Tuesday morning. Of course, as Xavier said, that means we have DC Capstone Report. We'll be adding into the conversation here in just a moment, but we would love to invite you to get in on the conversation on the Empowerment Strategies and Solutions Hotline. We'd love to have you as a part of that conversation. 205-342-9904. 205-342-9904. That's the Empowerment Strategies and Solutions Hotline. Also, don't forget, you can comment, react, ask questions, post comments, etc. in the live stream chat. So make sure you go and do that. And Empowerment Strategies and Solutions, you can find out more about them by visiting empowermentstrategy.com. That's empowerment spelled with the M, or remember martinhouston.org takes you to the same place. We'd love to hear from you and get you connected. At Empowerment Strategy Solutions, we speak, we train, we coach. Remember that this is the day that the Lord has made, so let's rejoice and be glad in it. And never before have we needed this to be true. Be the difference you want to see in the world today. Go out and love someone, serve someone, and notice someone today, and then take action to make it a better place for them. All right, I'll toss it back to X as we kick off this beautiful Tuesday morning with DC and company.
DC, how you doing this morning?
Oh, doing great. X, how are you this morning?
Cannot complain. So we're going to talk Bama, LSU. What were your thoughts on the game Saturday?
Oh, I thought it was the best overall game that Alabama has played this year so far, and I still think we have a potential to play better games. So I really, really thought it was a great overall game. Couldn't ask for a better performance by an offense or a defense. And matter of fact, I think they improved in the area that I thought we needed improvement on to get ready for this game. So really impressed with the team.
We even had a good punt return, DC.
We didn't have a good punt return.
We did have.
Oh, I know we did. Really good punt return. Yeah, I think every area of the game had a great. We were really good. I was really pleased with this team.
Yeah. This was the most complete game so far for sure. For 4 quarters, kind of got a little worried coming out of halftime when saw them moving the ball a little bit. But I was like, okay, they got to stop. They fixed things, kept it rolling. Thoughts on?
Let me ask you a quick question. This is totally sidebar off the cuff, and then I'll turn it back over to you, X. But is anybody worried about the kicker other than me? I mean, I'm trying to figure out. I'm glad we got him based on what he did last year, but there is zero way that dude should have beat out what's his name last year. I'm sorry. I mean, I'm glad we got that penalty on that kick, but I think he's accurate, but I don't think he has a strong leg. I may be wrong. That's a quick sidebar. Because that could be huge in the playoffs.
Right. I
think it could be. But
has there ever been an Alabama team where it's just like we have the lack of the need for a kicker the way we have this year?
Well, I think we really hadn't had a call on a kicker so far this year to be in like they have in the past, but I think I'm not going to judge him over his overall performance. Is probably not as good as Will Riker, but we've been used to a kicker who didn't miss anything and had a great leg and has consistently showed in the pros why he was so good in college. So we were spoiled a little bit in our kicking. I've seen some times where I wish we didn't ever have to line up and kick a ball when we had kickers on our team. So I'll give him. I'll give him benefit of a doubt. I'll give him benefit of a doubt in a game like that where the ball was kind of heavy and it was raining. So we'll see down the road if he continues to perform the same way. Hopefully he'll up his game a little bit as we head toward the playoffs.
Yeah, my concern isn't that he's played bad. It's just nothing that I had a lot more confidence before he played than I do now in him. And I just know that at some point, if we don't need him, then that means we either won a national championship or we got smoked in the playoffs. We get smoked at some point. He just, it was, like I said, that was just a sidebar. When it happened Saturday, I was like, I think he's accurate, but I don't think he has a strong leg. I don't, and that's why it upsets me. Once again, like I said, Will Riker was the best kicker in the country last year in college. And had he been on any other team other than Alabama, he probably would have won it. But I digress, X.
Agreed.
Yeah. So, DC, when we're talking about the game, talk about it being the most complete game that you've seen from Alabama this year. What were your thoughts about the way that the weather conditions, the way that we called the game offensively? Thoughts there and the decision making from Jalen Milroe through the course of the game, because who would have thought Jam Miller would have been Alabama's leading receiver in a game this year?
Yeah, I think maybe the weather played a little part in it, but I really think it was a game plan because they was taking advantage of what the LSU was giving them. And I think that they noticed something on film about the back being open so much out of the backfield. And I love the fact that they made adjustments and took advantage of that in this game. And the fact that we ran the ball more with Jalen Milroe And I thought that was what we should have done going into the game based on what LSU had put on film as their defense. They had some very aggressive linebackers. When they have those aggressive linebackers, it leaves open the back in the passing game. We took advantage of that. And they had some very aggressive linebackers that run blitz and didn't always get the right hole, or we had it blocked. So I think it was a good execution, good calls, good timing. And when I say they played the overall game, I'm talking about improved in all the areas that everybody had been screaming about, right? Time of possession, third down efficiency, getting off the field on third down for a defensive team, and turnover margin, and just running the ball. All of those things everybody wanted to see Alabama do, they can do. They just happen to execute it very well in this game, and so I was pleased with that.
And I would add to this, X. I mean, the rain probably could have affected it, but to DC's latter point, this is always open. This is not new. Running backs are always open. No one covers running backs. Everybody just don't use them in the game. What's the two games that we use the running backs in the pass game? Georgia and LSU. Those guys are always it's gonna draw up, and you're gonna have more corner routes and dig routes open, and you're gonna have less help over the top, or you're gonna have to lead the middle. Your corners are gonna be caught in a bind. And so, to me, I hope that they figure out that they can do this all the time.
Yeah, I agree with that. And DC, since we're still talking about the offense, is it now? We talked to Kenton about it yesterday. We talked about it. Is it clear that Jalen Milroe was hampered by something prior to the bye week?
Yes, I think I've been vindicated, and all the times I've been saying on my podcast that he had some type of injury or something hampering him. I even went back on film and found when it happened late in the Georgia game, in the Vanderbilt game, he tweaked it more. And everybody was saying, "No, you're wrong." He's saying he's fine. They're saying he's fine. But it's obvious now that something was wrong with him, that he took the time to get healthy. His acceleration is back. His want to is back. His energy is back. And I think he was playing to the best of his ability in this game. And in other times, he was playing hurt. And I'm not saying it was enough to keep him out of a game, but at least hampered him enough to affect this game. And I think we definitely can see that he is back full speed. When he made that first cut and the cut up field and accelerated, it was a no-brainer at the end that he was a different Jalen Milroe. And I made this statement, X, and I believe it's to be true. If the Jalen Milroe plays the way he played in that game in every game, when he plays that way, he makes everybody better. He makes our offense better. He makes our defense better. The energy he brings elevates our team. And when he plays that way, we can beat any team in America when Jalen Milroe plays the way he played against LSU.
Agreed, and I think it's really interesting when we look at, because we talked about we'll go ahead and get the break, and when we come back on the other side, we'll continue that conversation of the different games you saw from Jalen Milroe after the 2 bye weeks this year, and we'll continue that. We've got DC Capstone Report joining us on the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. A very good morning to you and happy Tuesday. Tuesdays normally get pretty busy for us, and right now we're not looking at anything major, but I do see where you're slowing down just a skosh on 11, or make that 359 on the northbound lanes just before 15th Street.
within 30 miles. And if they don't have what you need, they'll get it. Cypress Supply, 2036 62nd Avenue, Tuscaloosa. Cypress-supply.com.
Got timberland in West Alabama or East Mississippi? North River Timber Company has you covered. Since 2011, Courtney White, a registered forester, along with his expert team, have been managing timberland and harvesting timber across 4 West Alabama counties. They offer comprehensive timber management plans, reforestation services, and appraisals. Courtney White says timber is like money in the bank. Don't let your
Lowe's knows you want to get even more value for the holiday. That's why as a MyLowe's Rewards member, you get new member deals on holiday decor, tools, and more. And you earn points when you shop. More points equal more rewards to help you save on holiday and more. Not a member? Join for free today at Lowe's.com/MyLowe'sRewards because Lowe's knows deals. Program subject to terms and conditions. Points are awarded on eligible purchases. See Lowe's.com/terms for full details. Subject to change.
We'll take care of any problems you got with a damp crawl space or a crack in your foundation. They even do pest control and lawn care. Full service Alabama Professional Services at alabamaprofessional.com.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
Partly to mostly sunny today with a high at 74. Tonight fair, the low at 55. Tomorrow becoming cloudy. A good chance of rain by afternoon, the high 65. Thursday cloudy with rain ending during the morning, the high at 67. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 55 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Interact with the Martin Houston Show by calling us at 205-342-9904 or tuning into the Martin Houston Show on Facebook.
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier, powered by Box Eye Care. Hey, don't forget to go check out Dixie Battery Supply. Dixie Battery Supply. We buy junk batteries. They can take care of all of your battery needs, whether it's a big vehicle, small vehicle, golf carts, etc. You can find them online at DixieBatterySupply.com or call them at 205-758-9190. That's Dixie Battery Supply, DixieBatterySupply.com.
All right. As we welcome you back into the Martin Houston Show, Martin and Xavier. We have DC. We got a comment from Virgil Williams. He said, "Can you explain, or can you tell me why we still have Jalen haters? He did everything that's been asked of him on Saturday. He hit the crossing routes, 2 of which hit the wide receivers in the hand and were dropped. He read the defense and made correct decisions for the most part. Hit the short and intermediate passes, barely missed Williams on a deep ball, and yes, overthrew Henderson in terrible conditions. But yet there are still those out there saying he's not a quarterback. Why?"
Well, you just can't explain ignorance sometimes. That's just what people are.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, DC. Go ahead.
No, I'm just being honest with you. I mean, there's just people that's going to always be that way, and you just can't explain that. There's going to be some haters that's going to hate, and they all have their own reasons. And when they say something of that thing, if they say something like that, then they're revealing their football intelligence, and it's not very much. If they can look at a game like LSU and tell me that Jalen Milroe is not a quarterback. So when I hear people say that, I stop listening because it doesn't bother me because I know they don't know what they're talking about. And so when you hear somebody that knows what they're talking about say that, then I would debate them. But I don't even give it enough to debate someone who doesn't know what they're talking about.
Yeah, and the reality of it is simply this. If you needed that game, LSU game, to convince you of that, you have some other issues as well. I mean, you look at what some of the guys who they have said that are – I mean, I know I keep bringing up Carson Beck, and JR probably says it. He said people are stupid, just saying. That's JR's response. But does he have a different skill set than some quarterbacks? There are people who refuse to watch football and say that the game of football has changed. Are there now more quarterbacks who tend to be closer to Jalen Milroe's style or Mac Jones style? When you look at the 32 quarterbacks in the NFL, look at where the NFL is going. Look at the players that they're going to. They're going to guys who they may not be as athletic as Jalen, but they are dual threat guys who there's more Aaron Rodgers today than there are Tom Brady's. And here's the interesting part, DC, that tickles me. Now DC's a little bit older than I am, but we kind of grew up watching the same level. Think about this, DC. Who are the guys that they talk about that never won championships, but people still talk about those quarterbacks? It's Fran Tarkenton.
Mm-hmm. Randall Cunningham.
It's like Randall Cunningham, Manning. Those are the guys who played the game, but they were never on good teams. And they never got to the championship level. The only other guys they talk about from our era, most of them, with the exception of Dan Marino, most of the guys they talk about were guys who were like electric with their legs and good passers. You see what I'm saying? So if they were electric with their legs back then and people still talking about to this day, now you have that type, and that's the majority of the quarterbacks that's growing up and beginning to play the game. Athletes aren't just playing wide receiver and running back and defensive back anymore. They're now starting to play the quarterback position and staying in that position and not being moved from that position.
And I'd put Randall Cunningham in that category as well, and Warren Moon and Steve McNair. And a lot of quarterbacks have been athletic over the years that have done really well and just never won a championship because of the teams they were on.
And you can't even forget a guy like a Steve Young and but John Elway.
I was just naming the guys.
The guys who didn't win.
We talk about that didn't win championships. You don't hear people talking about the pocket passer that could throw it all over the field for the most part, except for who?
Dan Marino. Yeah. No, I mean, you got a great point on that. And you look, even when we're talking about the quarterbacks of today, if you put Patrick Mahomes as your number one quarterback, I 100% understand why. But why is it so hard for people to put Lamar Jackson at number 2? Like that dude's a 2-time MVP and is already breaking rushing records and for quarterbacks. And you'll see people put Joe Burrow in front of him. You'll see people put Josh Allen, even though Josh Allen is an athletic quarterback, in front of him. But they haven't won anything and don't have the MVPs that Lamar had. So there's that.
Hey, let me ask you guys, since we're having that question, is Jalen Milroe better at this age and this point than Jalen Hurts was when he left Alabama before he went to Oklahoma?
100%.
Absolutely, 100%.
And
Jalen Milroe is better than Lamar Jackson at Louisville when he won the Heisman Trophy.
As a passer, yes.
Yes, as a passer.
And that's my point. Look, what do you think if Jalen Milroe Jalen Hurts got coaching at Oklahoma, quarterback coaching, which he did not get here, and this is Jalen Milroe's first year to get quarterback coaching. They almost are on the exact same path. I mean, it's crazy how these guys were treated as quarterbacks, and I'm not talking about by the fans.
Yeah,
I'm talking about by the coaching staff.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And Jalen Milroe has made advances just like Jalen Hurts did. And then Jalen Hurts gets to the NFL where he is now a professional and he gets to work on his craft without having to split it with school. And that's why you see the jump in these guys. And if Jalen Milroe gets to the NFL and gets the same level of a coach who's willing to put a system around him. Now, if you don't put a system around him, Jalen Hurts will be back in school or working somewhere else. If you don't put a system around him, you cannot put Jalen Milroe in any system and him go. But you put him in the right system, And those systems exist now. Monken went from Georgia. Think about Monken. Monken went from coaching Stetson Bennett to putting in an offense that fits Lamar
Jackson.
And now he had to go back and modify that system to fit Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry. If he was trying to run the same thing as he did last year with Lamar Jackson, not accounting for because they struggled at the beginning of the year. He's figured it out now, and I think they're going to be a tough out if they can stay healthy. Anyway, I know that's a sidebar, but it's just things like that. Just, run the system. The 2 times, I say 3 times where a game plan was 100% Jalen Milroe, and we're going to go all in on Jalen Milroe, has happened 3 times. And Jalen Milroe
LSU, Georgia, LSU.
Huh?
LSU last year, Georgia, and then LSU again.
And he has 12 touchdowns in those games?
Mm-hmm.
And about 400 yards rushing?
12 touchdowns over 400, close to 500 yards rushing, and I think like 700 yards passing.
Let that sink in.
I mean, yeah. Let's go ahead and get to the phone lines. We got Pat joining us on the Empowerment Strategy Solution Hotline. How you doing this morning, Pat?
Good morning, guys.
Good morning, Pat.
Why did Coach allow that team last night to make us play so ugly that I at the beginning, I was worried to death that they didn't read a newspaper before they came to Tuscaloosa. And then I remembered, we don't have any newspapers anymore. Oh, my goodness. Come on.
I'll say this and then let X and DC. Pat, he didn't let them. McNeese is a good school, good team. They had a decent run, hurt some feelings last year in the tournament. This is an older, mature team. This is, Pat, what you saw last night is what's happening in college football. That is Vanderbilt. They're not mom and dad's Vanderbilt. This is not mom and dad's McNeese State. And, whether you like him or whether he cheated or not, the dude can coach. He may have just cheated a little bit at LSU.
Well, I think one thing, Pat, is that I think it was strategic the way that I think Coach Oates was strategic in scheduling that game last night on the heels of Arkansas State, because he showed his team 2 opposites of defenses and 2 opposites of game plans, the same kind he's going to see in these next 7 games when he goes up against the likes of Purdue and North Carolina and Houston and Creighton. They're going to play Alabama trying to take away their strengths. They're not going to try to run with Alabama like Arkansas State did. And what he's trying to show his team is ways how to win when the other team takes away what you do best. And I think it was a brilliant coaching move to schedule a game right before he goes on the road with these 7 games.
I got you. All right, one more question before I go. How long, and I know Coach Saban wouldn't like this, how long do we play Milroe in this ball game this weekend before we let it become Taz and my man Dylan Lonergan? Marshall Dillon.
What makes you think we're going to be able to play our subs? What makes you think that?
Exactly that. That's the question he would say. That's what Coach Saban would get ticked off about. I want to know y'all's answer.
Well, my answer is if we're up by 3 or 4 scores, I think you'll see most of the team resting. But I don't know that we're going to be up by that. This is another obstacle for Alabama, to be truthful. Can we come off of a big victory and play the same standard against a team that may not have the name, but is really a good skilled team? We're talking about a 9-1 team coming in. It's only lost 1 game. It's at the top of their game right now. Can we dominate them enough to get ahead? We'll see.
All right, next. What's your answer?
If I had to give my guess, if Alabama comes out and does what they're supposed to do, you might see the starters 1 drive into the second half. If they come out and do what they're
I
supposed
don't
to do,
want
they
to
come out
see
and dominate
I
this
don't
game
want
and
to see
keep
one
building
drive
on
in the second half. I want to see it going out in the first quarter, second quarter.
Pat,
I don't want to
know,
get behind.
You know what? Do you know why they play quarterbacks one drive in the second half, regardless of who the opponent is?
All I know is that I was at Mississippi State. I was at Mississippi State when my quarterback was killed. I was over there. I saw it.
Pat, that quarterback does a lot of things to get himself hurt. Not trying to be funny with that, but that quarterback talked the coach into going back in.
You know what I'm talking about. Yeah.
I saw Saban tell him he wasn't going in, had to back up warming up. He went up and asked Coach Saban, could he go back in? Kind of did the old buddy thing and got back in. And like I said, it's neither here nor there. But Pat, the reason that coaches play quarterbacks in the second half is because it's coaching and development, Pat. There's things that happen even when you play against a lesser opponent that you may not do correct or the way they want you to do it. So they make adjustments at halftime, and then they bring that quarterback out in the plays they call in that first drive. If it's a blowout game, a lot of times are corrections to things that happen in the first half. Now, with that said, I think if we blow them out, we may even see Ty get a series in the first half. But I still think you'll see Jalen start the second half unless he's just 12 for 12 or whatever it is type of thing. Thanks, Pat.
All I know is for this run that we're going to make, both of them backups better be ready.
For what?
To play. You got to understand, this is a lot of games we're going to have to play, man, because we're not going to go to Atlanta. I've been praying we don't go to Atlanta. I know what Martin said yesterday, but I've been praying we don't go to Atlanta. What?
Why would you pray for these guys not to have a chance to win a championship?
I do not. I want to sit and watch it. I want.
If we win it,
I want Ole Miss to beat Texas in the SEC championships. What I want.
This is what drives me. I'm gonna let you go, Pat, and I'm not even gonna respond to you. Let you give you a chance.
Yeah, I know what you think, Martin. I'm just telling you what I think. Okay, we got better for some opinion here.
Who are you thinking about, Pat? You're thinking about yourself, not the players. You just came on the show.
I'm thinking about nobody getting hurt. We just got.
You don't play football and worry about getting hurt. That's fans that think that way, not players.
Well, that's me. That's me.
Players and coaches don't worry about getting hurt. Players and fans, man, what? Wait, we play the game to play the game. You play the game to win championships, people. You play the game to win championships. I get the whole, but to say you praying that we don't get in, DC. I'll let you respond on this side. We're a little long on the break, but oh my goodness! Oh,
well, I've never prayed for my team not to win a championship, so I'll just leave it at that.
Hey, let's go ahead and get.
It would be different if we were praying. It would be different if we were like in the NFL. This is not the NFL. In the NFL, you pray to get that first round bye. But look, this is just
you get the first round bye by winning the SEC championship.
If you win the championship, you get the bye. That's what I'm saying. Why would you not want to be there and get a bye? Have a chance to get a bye.
I got a question that I asked Ryan Fowler yesterday that I'm going to ask X coming back out of the break. We'll be back on the other side to keep the conversation rolling.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. A very good morning to you and happy Tuesday. Tuesdays normally get pretty busy for us, and right now we're not looking at anything major, but I do see where you're slowing down just a skosh on 11, or make that 359 on the northbound lanes just before 15th Street.
With over 1,900 pre-lit memory wire branches that keep their shape so it's ready right out of the box. Ooh. Find the perfect tree now at the Home Depot.
Dixie Battery Supply takes care of all of your battery needs. Find the commercial batteries you're after and never feel powerless again. Come check out our Northport and Tuscaloosa locations or call us at 205-758-9190. And once again, power up all your devices by using Dixie Battery Supply, DixieBatterySupply.com. They offer...
They serve in West Alabama. If they don't have what you're looking for on the lot, they'll find it for you. Check out the complete inventory at MercedesofTuscaloosa.com. Roll Tide.
Hey, I'm Martin Houston, and I want to tell you about exciting news happening at Box Eye Care. They've moved to their new location, bringing you a brand new lab, stylish new frames, and a fresh look just for you. Enjoy their expanded frame inventory, competitive prices, and faster service, all with the same great level of service you've come to know and trust. Discover this full-service eye care at Box Eye Care's new location. With their in-house lab, they offer unbeatable value and one of the largest frame collections in town. Schedule your eye exam today and walk out with new glasses in less than an hour in most cases. Visit boxeyecare.com. That's boxeyecare.com, or call 205-342-0660. That's 205-342-0660. Visit them at 5003 Oscar Baxter Drive. That's Box Eye Care. Your vision, our priority.
Keep it locked into Tide 100.9 for more of the Martin Houston Show with Martin Houston and X's and O's Sports, Xavier Houston.
Welcome back to the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier. We have DC Capstone Report on with us. Hey, I want to encourage you, if you're looking for great official Alabama gear, get the custom legacy gear from the Martin Houston collection. You go to athletesthread.com. That's athletesthread.com/collections/Martin-Houston. If you can't remember that, remember athletesthread.com and remember my name, and then you can type it in and get there that way as well. So remember athletesthread.com/collections/Martin-Houston and get your Alabama custom gear today, especially that legacy gear. All right. Pat said that he was praying that we do not make it to the SEC championship game. Okay. Now, why did he say that? He didn't say because he was scared we would lose. He said he's scared we're going to get hurt, right? So, if Alabama was 12-0, what would be your thing? Would you say, okay, I pray that they don't get in because, I mean, that's an extra game. It's not an extra game, number one, because if you win the championship, you're in. Number two is DC and X, there's a four-letter word that prevents so many people from being great. And that's what Alabama fans that want Alabama to miss SEC championship game are living in fear. You know, I mean,
100%.
I mean, you know, that's number two. And number three is, DC, do you think that Alabama is more conditioned and better prepared to make a national championship run after winning an SEC championship or getting in after beating an Auburn team? I mean, let that sink in. If we win out, we're going to end the season with 3 games that we should win with dominant fashion. If we win these next 3 games the way we should, DC, we would be going into the SEC championship game if we got into it, which there's no guarantee a 10-2 is going to get us in. But if we got in, we'd be coming off a 34-0 win, a 42-13 win that they got 7 cheap points and we got 7 cheap points. Well, no, we actually did it against their first team. Never mind. So I wasn't that cheap. But but we should have a blowout win this week. If we play like we're capable of playing, we should blow out Oklahoma and Auburn. Then you're the most confident. Alabama would be the most confident team because right now we're sitting with 4 wins over top 25 teams. The second most is everybody else has 2 or fewer. And there's a couple teams ranked in front of us that have no wins over ranked opponents. What you think?
Yep.
DC? X.
No, I'm with you 100%. I think you want to make it to the championship games. You want to win. You want to get the bye. You want to come off a momentum of playing a really tough game because it's going to help you as you playing tougher opponents. It's going to help you in the playoffs. So I don't get the mentality of not wanting to play in the SEC championship game. I know it is fear of losing, fear of winning, fear of getting hurt, fear of losing the game and not making the playoffs. That's what it is. You want your team to be successful and win the championship. You want players to have that just that high of winning a championship. And so I think I would love for Alabama to make it and win that championship and get the first 4 bye. Who wouldn't want that?
X, I'm gonna let you respond. But Pat sent me a text said at the 5 or 6 seed in the playoffs, we would get a not so good Big Ten team. Is a projection makes for an easier path to championship in the second round. Play Big Ten. So what it matters to is this: we end up getting into the playoffs and still have to beat the same team that we would have had to beat for an SEC championship. So we end up losing and not playing for any championship. Or if we can beat them in the playoffs, we can beat them in the SEC.
Yep.
I mean, you're still going to have to go through that team or a better team to get to the championship. You're not going to
say we win the SEC championship, and we're probably going to, if we win it, if things play out, if Tennessee loses to Georgia, I think we're in the driver's seat for the SEC championship game if we win out. It'll be us and Texas unless Texas loses another game. I think the way it's been mapped out. But we beat Texas in the SEC championship game. We get a bye. We're the number 3 or 4 seed. Who says that number 11 seed don't beat that number 5 or 6 seed? And then we're sitting there going, oh, now we got Boise State in the second round instead of having to play, I don't know, Indiana or whoever. But it's just the point. The road might be easier if we avoid the first round of the playoff, simply because who says that 9, 10, 11, 12 team is going to not beat that 5, 6, 7, 8?
Yeah. I mean, I'm glad that we have the option to potentially be in both. But, Tim Coggins make a great point. He said, I like the thought of an extra week to prepare based on how we've played off the bye week. That means go win the SEC and earn a bye in the playoffs. But we're going to have to play the top 4 teams in the country to win a championship. So there is no easy path per se to the championship.
Why not be a top 4 team in the nation?
Yeah. I mean, like I said, to me, you don't pass on an opportunity to win a championship. That would be like Alabama losing the SEC basketball tournament on purpose. That right. Literally be, that would be, I mean, how stupid would that be for Alabama basketball to be amongst the 4 seeds remaining, DC, and Coach O's go, we could get hurt this next week. We could be tired. I mean, we could get hurt in this next game. So let's go throw this game, guys. Let's not finish this game. Let's not play in the championship game because we may be tired. We let's not win a championship. Let's not play for a championship. But DC, here's something for you guys to noodle on. Let's say Alabama gets into that championship game. Pat should want this. If Alabama gets in the SEC championship game and wins the SEC championship game, Xavier, when's the early signing day? December what?
First,
right? It's the next week,
second
right?
week in December. Yeah, the 11th.
Okay. Let's say Alabama plays for an SEC championships and wins it. Then the next week they sign the number one class. College football will absolutely have a meltdown because DeBoer has come in, and up until that point, he would have done exactly what Saban has done for 17 years. SEC championship, number one recruiting class, playing for a national championship. College football will melt, man. It'll have a meltdown.
Right.
Hey, I'll let you guys respond on the other side. We'll be back in just a moment.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. Bound Bender on Lurleen Wallace southbound right around 15th Street. Now, this is actually right at Stillman Boulevard in Tuscaloosa County, so it is on the right shoulder. But, folks, I don't want you to worry about that because it's still green for go in the area. It's on the shoulder.
Expecting heavy downpours all day today.
You're a builder. You build. It's literally in your job title.
Whew, let's hit it.
A little rain isn't stopping you. Not today, not any day. Shouldn't your flashing tape be working through it all too? Only Frog Tape Pro Grade Flashing Tape's high-performance acrylic adhesive sticks, re-sticks, and stays stuck, even on the roughest surfaces in rain, snow, heat, and more. So you stay in control when it matters most. Show weather who's boss with Frog Tape Pro Grade Flashing Tape.
Innovation. Experience the wow factor. Contact Shoot Masonry and Specialties at 205-887-3807 today and unleash your home's full potential.
Houston Hydrosteam. That's Houston Hydrosteam. Quality work you can stand on. Whether you're looking for carpet and upholstery cleaning, oriental rug cleaning, residential or commercial water damage, and a whole lot more, you need to call Houston Hydrosteam at 205-553-9460.
Weekend, Fridays at the Free, every Friday during football season with Tide 100.9 and Innisfree Irish Pub, located at 1925 University Boulevard, downtown.
Taco Casa, quality, taste, and value under the biggest cactus in town. They've been doing it the right way each and every day for 50 years and counting. If you're looking for a great option for lunch and or dinner, then you need to check out Taco Casa. Taco Casa, and while you're there, don't forget to get a big glass of that sweet tea. Visit them online.
Coverage begins at 10 a.m. on your home for Alabama football. Presented in part by BMW of Tuscaloosa and by Pearl River Resort in Choctaw, Mississippi. Welcome back to the Martin Houston Show, the sound of Bama sports. Your show, your team, on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier. We're live, local, ready to get things rolling right here on your home for Alabama sports. Hey, listen, real quick, X. There was a question that I'd love to see a home playoff game. Would you rather see a home playoff game or an SEC championship ring? Go ahead, X.
I'll take the home playoff game down the road. I want an SEC championship this year. But no, DC, wrapping up in this fourth quarter, just some of your thoughts when it comes down to what Alabama needs to do moving forward over these last three games. I know it's Mercer this week, but what do you want to see from this Alabama team this weekend?
Well, I think we got to come out and dominate. I think we got to show that we don't have a letdown after being on a high game. You know, Georgia, big game, elevated to the number one team, and we flop at Vanderbilt. We have a big game at LSU. We can't flop with Mercer, so we got to have a great game. We We got to dominate in all phases. We got to make all the right decisions and just really, really run up the score. Like I said, it's just got to dominate. And then that's got to continue on. When we go to Norman and play a night game out in Norman, they're not going to give up. They're going to try to beat Alabama and knock them off. And we got to dominate there as well. And then when you got your arch rival coming in to Bryant-Denny for the last game against Auburn would do nothing better than to rub it in our face and win and knock us out. They'll do everything they can to do that. So we got to play our best game every game, take it on one game at a time, and dominate. And I think that's what we have to see out of this Alabama team.
Yeah, I'm glad we don't have to deal with any of that Auburn voodoo this year. I'd be a little bit more worried if we had to. When we're looking at, I just want to bring this up. Did y'all see how fast Jalen Hurts was on that 72-yard touchdown run?
Absolutely.
Jalen Milroe. I keep saying Hurts. Yeah. Jalen Milroe. Did you see how fast it was?
Yes, he was very fast. Just on film. What was he clocked at? Did you see the clock time?
Yes, 22 and a half.
Fastest run by a quarterback in forever.
This is probably going to show my fullback nature. DC and X. Of course, I told everybody at church I used to run like that too, X. But
and X is running just like we did.
Hey, this shows you how differently people watch games. You know what I saw in that play was when he broke out. Yeah, I saw Law running his man 60 yards down the field, and at the end he was holding his hand. Yes, sir. Because that play doesn't happen without Law.
Right.
When he broke out in the open, the reason it was so open was Law had dominated his guy.
Right. And that, that's one of those things, man, when you look at Jalen, it happened against South Florida, it got called back. But I've been waiting for that run from Jalen. I know a lot of people go, a Heisman. It might not be a Heisman, but I've been waiting to see that just break out and lead everybody. Because we know he could do it. It's just like, come on, man, when's it finally going to happen? And we got to see that Saturday. DC, your thoughts real quick. We talked a little bit about the basketball game, but what are your thoughts about it as a whole? And then let us hear from your sponsors, my good sir.
Well, I think it was a great opportunity for us to learn. I think it was scheduled perfectly to go into these next 7 games that are going to be tough, and we're going to see defenses like that. And Will Wade's a good coach. He threw everything at Alabama, and Alabama's got to learn from that. And so I'm thinking we come out of there with a victory. We're sitting good. And so I think it's an opportunity for us to get better as a basketball team. And I look forward to great things for this team. Thanks for having me on the show, X, Martin. My sponsors, DCCapstoneReport.com, RollTideBama.com, FreelancePictures.com, and Karen Cottingham Realtor right here in Tuscaloosa with the Williams Group at Keller Williams. For all your real estate needs, Karen Cottingham, 205-887-4008. Thank y'all for having me on. Roll Tide.
Hey, and what's your score for Mercer, Bama?
Alabama 51, Mercer 14.
All right.
Thanks, DC. We appreciate you. Catch up with you next week. Hopefully, we'll be talking about Alabama and Oklahoma after a shutdown win where a lot of guys get some playing time. Remember this. Trust in the Lord always. Lean not your own understanding. In all your ways, acknowledge him, and he will direct your paths. For all the callers, listeners, viewers, and chatters, thank you for being a part of the show. I'm Martin Houston. That's Xavier Houston. That's Chase Brumfield. And that was DC Capstone Report. Roll Tide. We'll catch you on tomorrow.